What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Gift of Gaming podcast, and we're talking July news, which includes things from the voice actors for the video game industry going on strike, all the way to Crazy Taxi being an open world multiplayer game. Stay tuned. All right, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today I am joined by Mr. Xbox Games Pass himself, Luke Maycock.
Oh, yeah.
We need it. What was the updated one?
I don't know if I have an updated one. I just need to, I think I need to step away from the Games Pass moniker.
Yeah. You're not feeling it anymore?
I think this is my
I'm
last
pretty sure
month.
you're not allowed to request because, I mean, I've been the console hating since I started. And
No, that's fine. I'm not. I wouldn't.
That's fine. That's true.
That's fine. I didn't choose Xbox Game Pass either, but it would seem hypocritical if I were to cancel my Game Pass subscription and still be called that.
Yeah,
so we can workshop that. But,
yeah. If you've got any ideas during the episode, let me know. But also with us is the console hating, PC playing, lore seeking, full time Canadian himself, Chris Robbins. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing all right, Darren. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I have interesting news about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know if you guys heard. San Diego Comic-Con
Yeah. Dr. Doom. Are we talking about Dr. Doom? Yeah.
What?
You haven't heard this?
No.
They announced who's playing. So they've cancelled Kang Dynasty. Kang Dynasty is gone. That's not the fifth Avengers film. The fifth Avengers film is now called Doomsday. And they announced who's playing Dr. Doom.
It was at like a Comic-Con, and he came out in stage in the full
Doom costume.
Announced
himself.
Cool.
rips off his mask and to reveal.
Who?
Robert Downey Jr.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He's back. Which is interesting because
That's crazy.
there is a comic book story that did have Tony Stark becoming the villain and becoming Dr. Doom. So it is still based
Hey
on
man,
some
we're in the
kind
multiverse now.
Yeah,
Anything's
yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So, so it's a multiverse. Is he still Tony Stark?
No.
Oh no, I'd say he 100% will be. Yeah.
He is still Tony
really?
Stark, but he's not. He's a Tony Stark that became Dr. Doom
Okay,
instead
sorry.
of Iron
Probably
Man.
not Iron Man.
Yes,
Any
yeah.
No, he's not. He's not Iron Man in the film, but my assumption is that he is a version of Tony Stark who didn't become the Iron Man or the Savior. Someone had a great quote, which was the Batman line: "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself." So everyone's like, "Oh, this is the Iron Man."
That's crazy. I like that. That's mad. You get a little live react off me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But you can
class.
tell they've gone like it's kind of. I would say desperation at this stage because they haven't they've really struggled to make the films good again or get the hype going. But they announced that it was the Russo brothers directing the Avengers films, who said they were done with Marvel, and Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, who also said he was done with Marvel. So they were probably like, "Hey, listen, things are going really bad, and we could really do with you guys in the movie."
Well,
again.
what has the
power.
Russo brothers done since? Because Robert Downey Jr. did some.
He's done Oppenheimer, and there was one or two other films that Robert Downey Jr. has been in since, and he won an Oscar for his role in Oppenheimer, I think, as well.
That's right.
I think the Russo brothers they definitely did one film. They might have done two. Did they not?
DJ did some flops though too. Didn't he do that like Doolittle or like?
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did Doolittle. Yeah, was that
Chocolate
post Endgame?
It was post Endgame. Yeah,
Doolittle.
I think that was the
Yeah.
first thing he
Yeah.
did after.
Yeah, after Endgame. Yeah, but Oppenheimer was a good one for him because like it showed his acting chops, and he nominated and won an Oscar for that as well. So he's doing all right. But yeah, I was watching the thing this morning. I was looking at I watched like some person uploaded their footage from the hall in San Diego Comic-Con, and I had like the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and then they talked about the Avengers and what they were going to do, and it was a cool lineup, and I was really excited to see who they had acting because they made a really good job of it. But they had loads of guys dressed up on stage, so they announced all the movies and said all these people are going to appear in the new Secret Wars film. But in order to have Secret Wars be Secret Wars, the most important character possibly in Marvel Universe, Dr. Doom, and then they had all these guys dressed up as like Dr. Doom in brown cloaks and one guy in a Dr. Doom in green cloak, and they were like introducing probably the greatest actor of all time, and I was like, who the fuck is this? And then he takes off the mask, he does a whole Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark Iron Man pose on stage. I was like, pretty powerful stuff, but I still don't know if I'm okay with it. I still don't know if I'm there.
I like it, and I hate superhero movies, but I like it. I'll watch. Yeah, I'll go to the Russo brothers, Robert Downey Jr. getting a different like take on like the Tony Stark character as becomes Dr. Doom. Sure, I can imagine hardcore comic book dudes being quite upset about this, that you don't get a more pure version of Dr. Doom like as pulled from.
We get a Tony Stark Dr. Doom as opposed to your man, what's his name, Von Doom, whatever the guys. Yeah.
Do you
Victor
think
Von
we'll
Doom.
get a Chris Evans reprisal of the Human Torch?
That'd be great. Yeah, surely they've definitely pitched that to him because you
It
got
would
the.
be so fucking wild, man.
It'd be weird.
Possibilities here.
Yeah. Or coming back as just the amount of people that could come back for Secret Wars is outrageous. Like, should I mean like the OG X-Men cast or wild stuff? But that's not video game related. And before we get into the news, Chris, how was Evo? I know you weren't there, but you were probably
I was
keeping up to date
watching a
with
ton
it.
of it. It was good. It was the time difference sucks, especially like being the Street Fighter fan I am. That those are the latest events, so I'm up until like 5 or 6 in the morning trying to watch like all this.
Yeah.
And I'm also having a couple drinks, but like drinking until 5 and 6 in the morning means like sleeping until like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough. It was entertaining though. Not the greatest announcements this year, which was unfortunate.
They had a very disappointing Tekken one from my perspective.
Yeah, Hayashi. Who
yeah.
saw that coming?
Yeah,
He's
I know.
alive again.
Yeah, so lame of them to bring him back. I was like, come on, guys, stand by your storyline for fuck's sake. Like,
No,
you know.
nobody is, because same thing just happened with M. Bison. M.
Yeah.
Bison died. Now he's back. Yeah, so-
Robert Downey Jr. died as Iron Man. Now he's
now
back.
he's back. Yeah, see, he's
Fuck's
back.
sake.
Bring them all back. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
more entertainment.
simulation. But and I think there were some announcements, but the big one, and I still don't understand how they got it, but it was the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection, which got announced by Nintendo. I don't know how they got the rights to do that.
Yeah,
but-
Nintendo of all people were the ones to announce that collection. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but that would have been the big announcement they could have done this year. But they did get a lot of, they had it available to play at EVO. So we got to see a lot of the big fighters play the game. They gave Maximilian Dude his own private booth.
I was
They kinda,
watching some of his
yeah.
coverage. I couldn't believe that he got a
Yeah.
booth like that because he had
He was like
his
President
mates.
Shinra. up
He
there,
was,
man.
yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah.
It was very cool.
But he got to invite people up and play with his typical crew. Plus, Justin Wong would come up a bunch, but they were playing the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection, and then they also did the 2XKO, which is a new tag battler from in the League of Legends universe. That's coming out. They got to do a lot more hands-on with that. And other than that, announced characters I got to tinker around with.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the announcements weren't great. But one of my favorite fighters, Punk Da God, he won Street Fighter 6. So
Nice. So you were
Nice.
delighted.
Good to see
Who
it.
was his character?
Cammy.
Interesting.
Cammy, it was good to see.
Was
Good
grand
to see.
finals intense? Was it close?
Yeah, it was because it's double elimination.
Yeah.
So it actually hit a reset, and it came down to the very last set, very last kill. Like it was right down to the
I
wire.
love double elim is the best way to format a tournament. I love it so much.
So stressful. And there was some newbies that show up. There's this really he's a British kid. He's 17 years old. His name's Ending Walker. He had this long hair. Even when he was fighting, it was over his face. I was like, oh God, this guy's so edgy. But he did really well, and he was completely chaotic because Evo is everyone plays on PlayStation because it's a PlayStation bought tournament.
Right.
So if anyone uses Fight Pad, which you do see a lot of these days, it's always the DualSense 5 or whatever the name, the DualSense controller.
Mm-hmm.
This kid rocks up with a fucking Xbox controller. Don't even know how he connected to a PlayStation to use it, and he plays analog with the thumbstick, which is also
Outrageous for a
just
fighting game.
chaotic,
Yeah.
man. And he made it to either quarter or semifinals.
That's
he's
cool.
Fucking really, really
Love seeing
good.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm so winning on winning on his Yoshi and Melee. It's it shouldn't work, but it is. It's working.
Yeah.
That's what I love about fighting game stuff. That's cool. I saw Lily Pichu diced. What's his name?
Hokkaido or
Harada. Or,
Harada,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was very entertaining.
Yeah.
that was great to
Lily
watch.
Pichu playing Lily. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I that's another thing I love about just fighting game tournaments is you can have this really young blood, but you also have these 49-year-old vets, and they're
Yeah.
still competing and they're doing very well. It's the only game genre you'll see that in.
Yeah, and there's so much potential for upsets. That's the best part about fighting games is with the double elim format. the upsets are so, and then the pop offs when
The pop-offs are
when the
always
people
fun, yeah.
like actually succeed and like fulfill their hero arc. It's so satisfying. I didn't watch Evo, but that draws me into the melee scene a lot. I think that's really cool.
It's a pity that Smash Brothers isn't involved in Evo
Yeah.
at all. I'd say that'd be
Is
be fun to
Ultimate
watch.
not even in it now?
No.
No, Smash.
Nintendo just don't allow it to be in any sort of like competitive format.
I look more into this, and yes, Nintendo plays a big part, but another big part is, well, I guess Sony. Actually, Sony wouldn't mind them being there, but it was because Sony bought the tournament. Nintendo's like, fuck that, we're not taking part in a Sony.
But has Smash ever been involved in Evo?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Big time, back in the day. Yeah.
Melee Evo was
Yeah.
massive, some of the biggest ones.
But the other issue is apparently, not to like, take a jab at Smash Bros. Players, but apparently they're just awful to have in tournaments.
Oh, they're rage-filled
toxic.
monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very toxic.
Yeah.
Hugely toxic. I fell into a hole at one point watching Smash players rage throw their controllers.
Yeah.
And it's really embarrassing sometimes because the way you've got kind of like the people who are hired to commentate.
Yep.
Can also be like dudes who don't really have filters or professional kind of ways of going about it. And like, let's say someone has a relationship maybe with someone who rage quits and it gets kind of under the skin. You're like, oh, I'm not comfortable watching any of this. Like, it feels kind of weird. But yeah, I can see why they wouldn't want the Smash players there. That's reasonable. But enough about Evo. We have news to cover, gentlemen. And the first item on today's news is the video game actors strike coming from the Irish Times. From Brooks Barnes and Kellen Browning.
That's our local.
Yeah, right. At the moment I was looking at this, I was like, oh, the Irish Times has reported on this. I should put that in. Wow. So I'll just go ahead with this article here. So the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists called a strike on Thursday in the US against video game companies that use actors' images or voices in games, echoing its broader strike against television and movie studios last year. The strike comes after more than a year and a half of negotiations. Until the latest strike is resolved, numbers of the 160,000 person union will no longer act in video games produced by Activision Blizzard, WB Games, Electronic Arts, and 7 other companies covered by an interactive media agreement. Like the axis of evil, really, isn't it? The agreement expired in November 2022, and last summer the union terminated an extension. Games that were in production as of September 2023, including so-called live service games like Fortnite, which are updated continuously, are not subject to this strike order. SAG-AFTRA's demands
Isn't that who they'd be attacking? Like,
yeah, that has a lot of celebrity stuff in it. And
No, you're all good. SAG-AFTRA's demands are similar to those it sought from television and movie studios last year: higher wages and job protections from the threat of artificial intelligence. Quote, "We're not going to consent to a contract that allows companies to abuse AI to the detriment of our members," Fran Dresker, the union's president, said in a statement. Enough is enough. Duncan Crabtree Ireland, the union's executive director and chief negotiator, added, quote, "Frankly, it's stunning that these video game studios haven't learned anything from the lessons of the last year, that our members can and will stand up and demand fair and equitable treatment with respect to AI," end quote. The union also wants video game companies to improve safety on sets, such as having a medic on site. Quote, "We're disappointed the union has chosen to walk away when we are so close to a deal, and we remain prepared to resume negotiations," the consortium of companies said in a statement. "Our offer is directly responsive to SAG-AFTRA's concerns and extends meaningful AI protections." The companies added, "We have already found common ground on 24 out of 25 proposals, including historic wage increases and additional safety provisions." The union last went on strike against video game companies in 2016 for nearly a year. Some popular video games over the years have featured well-known actors like Keanu Reeves, who appears in the dystopian sci-fi game Cyberpunk, and Samuel L. Jackson, who voices a character in Grand Theft Auto. But more often, video games are a starting point for more obscure actors looking to break into voice acting. The union strike against television and movie studios, combined with a separate strike by the Writers Guild of America, which represents screenwriters, brought Hollywood assembly lines to a standstill for 6 months last year. Blockbuster video games often take much longer to develop and produce than television episodes or movies, so any impact from a strike would not be visible to consumers for years. And even then, the disruption to the industry could be minimal. Despite lasting nearly a year, the 2016 strike had little impact on the established video game franchises. Well,
so could I get a clarification on something?
Yeah.
The people who SAG-AFTRA are negotiating with what's the media group that they're negotiating with over this? That you said was like the axis of evil.
Oh, the consortium of companies includes Activision Blizzard, WB Games, Electronic Arts, and 7 other companies covered by an interactive media agreement. I don't know who the 7 other companies are.
Big publishers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing shitty stuff with AI and actors to cut corners and cut costs.
The argument is a weird one in that you can see that it's like kind of split in the middle from what I've been checking out with news. Like a lot of video game companies are saying that we're going to do this to make games better and it's not going to affect jobs. And there's other companies that are like, well, this makes our lives a lot easier at whatever cost to the individual.
Yeah, if you think they're not going to cut jobs, you're delusional.
Yeah, that's just how
Yeah.
capitalism works. Like,
Yeah, and
if they
it's
can,
such a big problem. And I'm becoming a bit of a minority even in my field, but like we need to fucking slow down with this AI stuff. We need regulations.
Yeah, you need
in
protections.
place, yeah, before we start, continuing on with or just even research before, developing stronger AI.
But there's no financial incentive to do that research because the only people that suffer are the workers.
Yeah,
No, it's
companies certainly
for
doesn't
the
suffer.
government. I mean, it's going to be bad if nobody's out there and nobody can find work. Then the economy just falls flat too.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, yeah.
Hats off to them for striking.
Yeah. It's.
But I don't understand what that's going to do. Just like, okay, then you go on strike, then we'll continue to use more AI to replace you fully.
Well, they kind of can't do that. Like that's kind of the mechanism of the strike. Like they wouldn't be able to strike if it wasn't going to.
But like even if you have a strike in your factory, you can still like hire scabs to come in and work.
Yeah.
And the strikers could have like a problem with those scabs or like give them trouble, but you can't do that with AI. Like what are you gonna do? Box a computer or something? Like
AI crossing the picket.
Yeah,
But I don't
exactly.
Yeah. I don't think though AI is at a stage whereby I know that it can write dialogue and everything like that. It can do voice acting, but I think it can do voices to an extent. But I don't think it would have, I think we would 100% know as consumers at the level that AI is at now that if we were to play a video game that was made entirely or voice acted entirely by AI or voice acted entirely by voice actors, I think we would definitely know the difference at this stage in AI.
Think that's true.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily true.
Yeah,
It depends on.
and maybe not now at this very instant, but like this time next year, I don't think we'll have any idea.
Do you ever have a conversation with ChatGPT, like the voice conversation with them?
I haven't used any AI whatsoever.
I've never I'm
Shit's
adamant on not
freaky.
feeding the bear.
Yeah,
And this is the thing is that I haven't touched any. I haven't used AI at all in any capacity whatsoever, and part of me is scared that I haven't because even in my own work, everyone's saying oh, it's important to educate yourself on this because whether you like it or not, this is a potential future that
In
we all
my
have
field,
to deal
I'm going
with.
to get left behind because there's already people using AI to write their unit tests and stuff like that, and I just
Yeah, they call it. I'm doing a software development diploma at the moment, and the college just changed its stance on letting students use AI. They're completely against it for half of it's like a year-long course, and for the first half of the year, they were completely against it. Now they've pivoted, and now they're like, yeah, you can use AI, provided you're using it for these specific reasons.
Yeah.
Like you're not using it to write your
Yeah,
code.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Interestingly, one of the examples that you kind of tried out one that kind of came to mind when you were talking was the idea that they were going to have AI content go in as writing stuff that would flesh out NPC dialogue scenarios. So the NPC would always have a unique reaction to what you were saying based on some large language model. The problem there for me is that they say that there is a world in which that could improve the content of a video game and not take away jobs and the scope of jobs that are already there.
Yeah.
But that's only actually going to be the case if there are protections for those
Exactly.
writers.
I there's a potential for AI to be so. And if you think of those big open world, or RPGs, there's loads of NPCs hanging around the place, and unfortunately, you might get one or two lines of dialogue from them, and that's it, because everyone's so busy writing the rest of the game that we can't have unique dialogue each time we talk to these people across this entire open world with loads of NPCs. So hey, let's bring in this kind of moderated level of AI to create, we'll put it in the code so that when certain things happen in the world, their dialogue changes and AI can write that because we don't have the time. And I'm like, that's the kind of level of stuff that I would be okay with because it's helping people with their job. So if no one loses their job, but the game just seems enhanced, I'm like, cool. But that's not the way it's going to go.
But there, and then even at that, there is a blurry line of there's a few blurry parameters there where you're like, okay, so what is the LLM feeding on to get the information for building out these unique dialogues? So they need input to analyze and to simulate, right? So is that being provided by other writers, or other writers like could it be a side hustle for
that argument? I've never 100% been on board for, because I mean, in all forms of art, music, writing, drawing, you are drawing inspiration from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Typically,
there's a difference between drawing inspiration from and what AI does, though.
But how do we know exactly like what
AI can't be inspired like us humans, Chris, you know?
Not yet. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. Not yet. But it can't. It's like, so it's drawing on. So this is the problem that, like, I work in the arts. This is the problem that artists have with AI, is that in order for it to be able to produce works of art, it has to be learning off of a database, a massive database of lots of different work by artists. And historically, that has been completely without their permission. So basically, these large, these learning models that produce images are being fed loads and loads of stuff. They're producing content which they can make money off of without any of that money going to any of the artists that actually, without their permission, trained the AI. So it's kind of this idea of like consensual participation in like training these models. And like Midjourney had a huge scandal. Midjourney was probably the leader in the image-based AI stuff for a while. It had a huge scandal where it just said outright again and again and again, we are not stealing works from artists. We are not like taking any external sources without anyone's permission. And then a massive list got leaked of all of the artists who they absolutely had fed to the model with.
Yeah.
And all of these artists came out and said, Midjourney never approached me to use my work.
It was the first, because I mean, I don't know exactly where AI kind of began in terms of the industry-wise, but from a consumer perspective, for me, it was the AI-generated images where instead of making, I was like, holy shit, like we're actually growing here. And that was for me where the first mistake was in not being regulated in any kind of way, where they say, okay, we've set up this database and we're going to go and ask artists if they're okay for these images to be dumped into this database, and that's what the program learns from, because there's all these permissions. But it was pretty much given free reign of the internet to just be like, just take these things from
Google
any
crawl, easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Crazy.
And that's there's a lot of really blurry lines here, and what ends up, I think, winning out is the fucking profit margins of the companies who are making who are making this content. They don't really give a fuck whether SAG-AFTRA are great for striking, because they are right in that the companies, if they're not pushed to give a fuck, like they won't. EA, Activision, Blizzard, they're not gonna.
I was like, when WB Games, when those were the three that were announced, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sad sense.
That tracks with all of the news stories we have for the past 2 years of them like cutting corners and like squeezing out,
and just generally being
overhauling studios and prioritizing the money over everything else.
Not great. But on to our next news item, which is on the FTC being unhappy with Xbox changing its Game Pass model. So we're back to this, fellas. This still hasn't gone away. This is coming from The Verge by Tom Warren. The Federal Trade Commission has blasted Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass price increase in a filing to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. Microsoft revealed last week that it's increasing. This would have been the beginning of July when they announced this. They revealed that it's increasing PC Games Pass and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate prices and planning to launch a new Games Pass standard tier soon without day one access to first-party Xbox games. The FTC calls this new Game Pass standard tier a, quote, degraded product, because the new Game Pass users won't be able to sign up for a $10.99 Games Pass for console, which includes day one game access. Instead, Xbox Game Pass standard will be priced at $15 and won't include day one games, but it will include online multiplayer. Quote, Microsoft price increases and product degradation, combined with Microsoft's reduced investment in output and product quality via employee layoffs, are the hallmarks of a firm exercising market power post-merger. Product degradation, removing the most valuable games from Microsoft's new service, combined with price increases for existing users, is exactly the sort of consumer harm from the merger the FTC has alleged. End quote. The filing is part of an ongoing appeal lodged by the FTC against a district court's decision not to block Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition last year. Microsoft finalized its $68.7 billion deal in October, but the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals still hasn't ruled on the FTC's appeal yet. I went on from there and found Microsoft's reply. This also coming from The Verge by Richard Lawler. So Microsoft insists Games Pass isn't degraded, as the FTC claims. The FTC called Microsoft's Game Pass price hike, quote, exactly the sort of consumer harm it had predicted ahead of the company's Activision Blizzard buy. Microsoft's response claims that with included multiplayer and the upcoming day and date release of Call of Duty, the offering isn't degraded at all. So this is their response. This month, Microsoft announced changes to its gaming subscription services, Games Pass, to provide consumers valuable options at different price points. Microsoft is offering a new service tier, Games Pass Standard, which offers access to hundreds of back catalog games and multiplayer functionality for $15 a month. It is wrong to call this a degraded version of the discontinued Game Pass for console offering. The discontinued product did not offer multiplayer functionality, which had to be purchased separately for an additional $10 a month, making the total cost of $21 a month. While Games Pass Ultimate's price will increase from $17 to $20 a month, the service will offer more value through many new games available day and date, among them the upcoming release of Call of Duty, which has never before been available on a subscription day and date. I was always, and you'll remember this when we went through this whole thing with the FTC, I was in for them to try and stop the acquisition and stuff like that, but I never believed that Games Pass financially was functional, and I think we saw how it wasn't really possible to continue that based on the closure of all the smaller studios that they made. To me, I am actually okay with this. It's what PlayStation's been doing for a long time. It seems to be in line with like the general industry, and I'm kind of like, yep, if that saves studios, I'm okay with that, and we're paying for good value shit as opposed to what was the best deal in gaming, as we call it, for so long before they changed it.
Yeah, it is also what like Sony has been doing as well. I guess the FTC is the American Federal Trade Commission. Microsoft is an American like company, so they kind of, I don't think they could. Oh, they probably could take out the same on Sony America. They could definitely follow the same kind of claims. Maybe I'm wrong there, but it feels kind of similar to what other things are doing. I was thinking about that recently, actually. I didn't realize this would affect me, but so I'm thinking of canceling Game Pass, but then I was like, I do play a lot of Rocket League, and I need Xbox Live to play Rocket League.
That was going to be my question: do you still have to pay for Xbox Live on?
As it stands now, I do, but with this change, the price change, I would just be paying for Game Pass.
Okay, so it is lumped in with one of them.
It's lumped in with Ultimate, and I guess it wasn't lumped in with core Game Pass.
With the core Game Pass, standard Game Pass, it sounds like you have to pay an extra $10 a month for online on top of that.
Yeah.
Yet another reason PC is superior. No fucking online.
Yeah, well, if it isn't the console hating back again.
I'm just saying. It's
No, you're right. In terms of when PlayStation first, because
imagine having to pay to play Call of Duty online. Suckers.
The counter argument to that back in the day was like, yeah, well, we don't have to play with like insanely modded versions of the game. I remember Modern Warfare on PC was just a nightmare of modding.
Some of the old ones are pretty bad. Some of the new ones still are, but well, whatever.
But yeah, for me, FTC, you go do you, but I think it brings it more in line with the industry, and for me, Xbox taking it. I mean, look, they don't need, or Microsoft doesn't need more money, but in terms of from its gaming services section, it probably does to make the acquisition seem like, hey, we need to be able to pay for this somehow, so we're doing this. So this hopefully, if we're still hearing in the future that they're closing studios left, right, and center, that's when I'm going to be like, you guys.
Yeah.
But if this stops that kind of train of thought, where it's like, we're not making enough money, the shareholders aren't happy, so let's close these studios instead of like, okay, we're going to up the prices of these services to meet the industry standard-ish. I'm like, okay, that seems like a more sustainable model.
Yeah, I don't have any concrete news to this effect, but I do, for some reason, of all the things that my phone tracks that I care about, it gives me a lot of Game Pass news. Like when I just swipe to the Google panel over on the left, it's like some football scores and like Games Pass news, and that's all I get. But I have seen a lot of negative press come out towards Game Pass, not at all indicated at the price, but in the rotation of titles, and that a lot of people are dropping away, like a lot of studios are dropping away from the Game Pass model, it seems. Again, I can't give concrete stories to that, but this is just like murmurings that I'm hearing from different like speculative websites.
Well, so like some of them were paid, because I can't remember, we looked at this before when we were looking at a news thing, and I can't remember the exact figures, but some companies, some game studios were paid a certain amount, like a flat amount, to be like, here you go, here's this, and we're going to take your thing and put it on to Games Pass. And some games were so successful that the money they would have gotten had those games just been purchased, because they kind of, people wanted like, got like 20x million copies of whatever it was, it would have been more financially beneficial for them not to take the Games Pass deal. Now that's not, I think that's kind of maybe the exception to the rule in general, especially with like the smaller indie titles, but I guess it's not an attractive option for studios anymore.
I think sounds like what just happened for, there's an indie game on Steam right now that's blowing up. It's called Manor Lords.
Yes.
It's built by a single person, and he got offered a Game Pass deal. And this is around when like Microsoft, Xbox was like closing down studios and getting rid of anyone. But he got like one of these exclusivity deals, which kind of like blew his mind. But it also kind of freaked him out because he's just a solo hobbyist developer, and he's like, oh shit, now I have like quotas and like expectations and deadlines to make.
Because then it's like a lot of it probably becomes marketing for a studio. Then like your job probably becomes marketing to be like, hey, my game is on Game Pass, go download it please and open the game please. And
I think once Microsoft take it over and put it on Game Pass, they handle marketing? Maybe not.
I don't think so. I think there's still an obligation.
Because they're always like first day Game Pass.
So I think it depends. Like it depends on the level of game as well. Because like I don't think Man of Lords, for example, would have gotten on an Xbox showcase to be like day and date. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think it's of the notoriety of some of the other games from other studios to be coming on that list. So in those situations, I think it's up to you to be like, we see promise in this game. Here's your package deal, but the work's up to you, and you have to hit these targets in order to receive X bits of this package.
Totally. So you have to get on your social media marketing grind, because if you go to the Game Pass app on the Xbox, you see they can't show you there's hundreds of titles on Game Pass. So Microsoft choose which titles you see first based on an algorithm, based on your interests. Yeah, but totally based. Your interests do play into it, but you also know that like AAA studios, even if they don't align with your interests, are more likely to reach your featured page, you know? So
really? Okay, I think Steam is different in that sense, because I think it's just given how many indie games I play, they're always forcing new indie games down my throat.
I get a lot of AAA game stuff, and I don't own
that
any AAA games on Steam.
I think it behooves the Games Pass system to push the AAA games that they've probably paid big bucks to 100%. Get onto the actual model.
Because true. It's real strange. And then those AAA games, most of them, or I think it's a case that all games that go onto Game Pass, you can buy the game. Like you can buy the game for a massive discount if you have Xbox Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So if you really like it, so I wish I had done that with Outer Wilds, because I discovered Outer Wilds with Games Pass, favorite game ever, and then I was like, I wanted to go back to it one day, and then I realized it was gone off Game Pass, and I had to pay full price for it. And I was like, oh shit! But I did. I was happy to.
Yeah, favorite game of all time for you.
But it was it kind of there's a weird little mechanism where you can be like, if you really like a game, like an indie game, you go into the store, it'll be like €1.87. Well, the discount will come out to costing you like £2.
Why the fuck not? Yeah.
So yeah, it's again, Game Pass is weird. It's a weird system.
I think it was very much, I couldn't understand it, but I think I'm beginning to understand it now with this new model. It's like, okay, it's falling into the exact same profile that PlayStation has, being like, here's your tiers, basic, meaning whatever else, and I think there's a bit more security in that in terms of what games will appear on it.
I still think Games Pass is too important on like a global market to just completely get rid of. Like I think it has to work at the end of the day, just because all these companies are getting rid of their regional pricing, right? So buying a new AAA video game is now like a month's worth of wages in some other country that doesn't have the most powerful currency, but Game Pass will remain regional for them, so it gives them a chance to still play games, which is very important.
Yeah, and hopefully that the new tier system doesn't outprice.
No, because I still think it'll be regional, so it should still be within
the means of
closer to your means of living. Obviously, there's varying different rules on what a minimum wage is, but it's definitely a lot more helpful than
still universally going up. Like the price is still universally going up, and I don't think like fast forward 5 years from now, has Xbox Game Pass price, is that going to have gone down at all? Absolutely not.
No, I can only say. I mean, it's the same with PlayStation, and PlayStation, as much as I enjoyed. I don't think they're offering in terms of the essential, ultimate, standard pricing things has really, for the price it is, has been worth it. And I think they increased it by 30% there at the beginning of this year or the end of last year, which was an astronomical increase. And I still want to play my online games and stuff, so I still subscribe to it. I'm lucky enough that I can do, even with the price increase. But I was looking at that being like, that's not a good sign for the future,
Hot take, I think Nintendo has the best one.
You are fucking insane. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they know their audience, and they're just like, hey, you play all these Super Nintendo games and normal Nintendo games with this pass. I was like, cool. I was like, but you can play N64 and Game Boy Advance with this one. I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah, you got me.
A great segue, Chris. We'll go into our Nintendo story for this month's episode of the news. So Nintendo Switch snatches the NES's record as the company's longest-lasting console with 2,688 days without a successor. This is coming from Can Seren at GamesRadar.com. So the Nintendo Switch is the longest-serving Nintendo console, with the company having never left this much time in between releasing one console and the next. Nintendo Switch is now the company's longest-lasting console era ever, meaning it spent the most amount of time on store shelves without the company releasing a follow-up. Just yesterday, VGC reported that 2,687 days had gone since the Nintendo Switch's global launch on March 3rd, 2017. Obviously, that number is now it's been a week since then.
Surely
so it's
it
more.
was the Game Boy.
This article, very good, very well noted. This article does hit on that actually.
Okay.
Nintendo hasn't spent this much time supporting, fawning over, and profiting from one console since its very first, as every console generation after the NES became progressively shorter until the mammoth Wii era lasted a full 6 years, which makes some sense considering the Switch is the company's best-selling console with 141 million units shifted. On the other side of the spectrum, the Wii U can finally say it's won something as the console holds first place for Nintendo's shortest console cycle of all time, with 1,566 uninterrupted days on the market. The home consoles can argue all they like, but none of them will ever hold a candle to the original Game Boy, which saw a whopping 4,352 days before the release of the Game Boy Advance. Since the Switch is a hybrid console, it would need to hold on until February 1st, 2029, without a successor to beat the Game Boy's record. And I hope that doesn't happen, because I'd really like to see the Switch 2 before
the Game Boy's goated, man. There's just
great console.
Yeah.
It just clicked for me when you were reading that. I know what the next Nintendo console is going to be called. It's going to be the Super Switch.
You reckon?
Calling it here.
Nintendo Super Switch?
Okay.
I heard all the nostalgia bait stuff you were talking about a second ago, and then I heard you say the NES was the longest running one, and I was like, the SNES, the Super NES was like, what came next? The Super Switch. That's amazing marketing.
It's a good name too.
Man, okay, I'm gonna time tag this to be like, Luke called it here, like, what
Super Switch. Oh,
Nintendo Super Switch is a great shout, actually.
I would get really excited to buy
If
that.
Nintendo's listening to this, they're going to delay it another 2 years. Like, fucking Luke leaked our ideas.
Yeah. Or some guy, like them have like they already have a terrible name, and they listen to the podcast being like, oh, that's a much better idea.
Ah, shit, that was way easier. Why are we 3D chessing ourselves?
Yeah.
4D chessing ourselves. 3D chess is just normal chess.
It was for us users, for everyone not playing at 2D. Well noted, Luke. Well noted. This is good. I'm happy for the Switch, but also at this stage I'm like, where the fuck is the Switch 2? There's been still nothing on the Switch 2 in terms of what it is, what it looks like when it comes out.
I still enjoy. I have a really weird connection with these because I still enjoy the fuck out of my Switch. So I'm like, yeah, they can announce it.
Man, I haven't got it yet, but I'm like hovering over it in the store. That NES World Championship game.
Yeah, about
that. Fucking so good, man. But my problem is I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna S-class everything. Then I'm gonna sit down and play with like somebody who's never played it before and just smoke them. I'm like, well, this isn't as fun for everyone as I hoped it would.
Also, like playing a fighting game with someone who's never played it before.
Yeah,
you kind of have to sit down day one with everybody to be like, we're going to have some fun with this.
Yeah.
And for sure. Kudos, Nintendo Switch. Hello, Nintendo Super Switch.
You heard it here first.
Nicely done, Luke. Okay, our second to last story of this episode's news is that Capcom is considering how to make new Mega Man games on an ongoing basis. This is coming from Adam Bankhurst at IGN. Capcom has confirmed Mega Man remains one of its highly valued IPs, and that is considering considering how to create games for it on an ongoing basis.
You, Capcom. You fucking
Capcom shared this update for the beloved franchise during a Q&A for its 45th Ordinary General Meeting of the shareholders. And while nothing concrete was revealed, it's always great to know it still wants to continue the Mega Man legacy. A shareholder asked Capcom what its plans were for the Mega Man series, and Capcom replied by saying, quote, Mega Man is one of our highly valued IPs, and we are considering how to create games for it on an ongoing basis, end quote. It's so big.
It's just AI written.
Essentially.
As an AI written response.
Mega Man was first released on the NES in 1987 and has since had over 50 entries and has sold over 41 million copies as of October 2023. Mega Man 11 was the last mainline entry and it was released on PS4, Xbox One, Switch and PC in 2018. In our Mega Man 11 review, this is for IGN, they said, quote, it's not revolutionary, but Mega Man 11 feels almost like a classic Mega Man game.
Just needs to be more Mega Man.
Yeah.
Mega Man.
There have been Mega Man collections released since then, including the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, but we are also waiting for the next big adventure for the Blue Bomber.
I found it. There's a indie game. It's called 20XX, and it is I would say Mega Man X, but it's co-op Mega Man X roguelike, and it is fantastic.
Ooh.
And it's the Mega Man we've been waiting for years.
I love Mega Man X.
Yep.
Mega Man X is such a great game. 20XX?
20XX. Look it up. It is fantastic. It is what we've been waiting for, and it was delivered by an indie company.
Ooh.
So, in terms of, I'll ask
There's
you
a
to
30XX
give us
too, but I haven't played that one.
Let me see. So my question was, do you think that you don't think that Mega Man needs a revamp whatsoever? You don't think it needs like a Sonic Frontiers style?
I don't think it
grandeur.
I don't think it needs a fucking huge company like Capcom doing stupid AAA decisions and taking stupid AAA time behind the scenes. Yeah, no, I don't.
So you don't want Mega Man to have the God of War 2018 treatment? Real serious Mega
They're
Man?
never going to do that, man.
No, they wouldn't.
If they do anything, it'll be like what we got with like Metroid Prime 4, which essentially looks like Metroid Prime 3.
That was one of, considering how long we've waited for that game,
Yeah.
that was one of the most disappointing ways to announce that game. It looks crap, it looks whatever else. But yes, hopefully for Mega Man. I guess that was the thing. Both of you guys are Mega Man fans. We know that Daniel, who's appeared on the podcast the odd time, is a huge Mega Man fan.
Yeah, Mega Man 2 and X are amongst my favorite games of all time.
Whoa.
Are you, as consumers of Mega Man, have you guys been waiting for another Mega Man game?
I'm not there. I'm not a huge Mega Man
The same thing
fan.
as I'm not waiting for another Donkey Kong game. I've had my time, and I'll still go back and play the old ones, but
I'm just a Mega Man X fan. I just really like that game. I played the crap out of it ages ago. There's an appeal, like there's something they did really great and unique in that, which clearly 20XX has done. I'd like more of that, so I'll probably get that game. But yeah, it's not the way I'd kind of think about it is it would be cool to see companies like Capcom realizing that these projects don't have to be like massive cinematic ventures. Mm-hmm. They could just be really good, simple games. That's a thing that they could focus on with like a small team of very talented creative people that wouldn't cost them like a huge amount. Get them to make like trust them with the franchise. It's hard for them to do because it's a big.
The problem is they only if they can't slap that fucking $60 price tag on a game, they're just like, that's probably useless. When sometimes less is more.
But if they could make it cheaply and sell it affordably, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. But that's the thing as well, is that are they going to go into something and spend the time
that's the
making
other thing with big corporate bullshit. There's so many hoops that you have to hop through, and just to just get anything done or get approval on anything, it takes so long that you have to charge more because people are now sitting around waiting for these decisions to be made. Well, so I just don't think AAA companies can crank out unless they could actually give these small teams complete autonomy and just we trust you.
Just
make
way more
game.
autonomy. Yeah. I don't really wonder. The new Zelda game that was just announced at the last Direct, the one that looks really
cutesy, I think, kind of nice. I like the art style.
I think it looks clever. I think it looks simple. I think it looks really creative. That's going to be 60 quid. But
that's but that's different. That's the Nintendo prerogative, I suppose. Nintendo are that's just their route across the board.
You say Nintendo prerogative? I think they're one and the same. I don't think Capcom is too far removed from Nintendo.
I think so. The Nintendo IPs will always sell for that standard price. I think Capcom or the other guys, if they're they haven't done it in a while, in fairness, but if they're releasing those if they were to make another 2D Mega Man game that was fairly affordable and easy to make, Shredder's Revenge, that Turtles game, was like
Yeah,
40 quid, I think, or something like that. Like, to me, that's the direction they should be going. Something that's a bit simpler to make.
I still think 40 was too much for that game.
Probably, yeah. But that's I think Shredder's Revenge. There's probably people out here who've done a lot of research on that, but I'd say Shredder's Revenge sold way fucking better because it was 40 quid than it would.
No, definitely. I mean,
quid.
that's the thing. I saw that game when I saw that it looked the way it looked, and it reminded me so much of the one that I played on the NES. And I was like, God, I'd love to play that game again. But if that comes out at 60, I'm not touching it. But the fact that it didn't, and it was anything below that, made me consider it. Which I think is probably a good tactic to employ for like Mega Man games.
There's absolutely a market there. Yeah.
Just with Nintendo, you'll never. If it's a Nintendo IP, fucking. I mean, Mario Kart 8 is however many years old, and it's still full price.
Yep, because it's a great game.
I mean, Mario Kart's probably not the great example to use because they are still like releasing great DLC and more tracks and everything like that for it up until recently. But yeah, like fucking, older Nintendo IPs are still going for 60 quid straight off the bat. There is no fucking this gets cheaper over time with Nintendo. So hopefully Capcom can make Mega Man games.
Like, you can buy Left 4 Dead 2 for like 99 cents now.
What a great game!
It's such a goated game.
It is.
Like, it's just gone down on sale so many times.
I want to play that on Steam Deck.
That would be pretty sweet. We've got one news item left, gentlemen. And are you fellas fans? Did you guys play the old Crazy Taxi game back in the day?
No,
I played a bit of it. I mean, I wouldn't say like I saw too much time.
I fucking loved Crazy Taxi.
We know.
I loved Crazy Taxi, and the great thing about this is the new Crazy Taxi is going to be a large-scale open-world online game because, of course, it is. And this is by Ollie Welsh over at Polygon.com. Sega is going through one of those phases when it decides it wants to be Sega again. The Sega of blue skies, killer arcade cabinets, and the glorious, unfulfilled promise of the Dreamcast. Last week, the publisher released the first official Super Monkey Ball game in a decade. At the Game Awards last December, the company announced an initiative to bring some of its classic game franchises back to life, including new games in the Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi series. That was a fan-pleasing move, though many questioned how, or indeed whether, Sega intended to make these games relevant for a modern audience. We now have a partial answer as far as Crazy Taxi is concerned. Sega is moving to staff up the development team making the new Crazy Taxi, and in a series of job adverts, the game is consistently referred to as a, quote, large-scale online title, open world, and massively multiplayer driving game. The original is a tight, fast-paced arcade driving game about ferrying passengers around a city map as fast as possible. In an ad seeking a lead game designer, Sega says the project is, quote, aiming to become a global hit primarily in the North American market, end quote. Sega would prefer its new lead game designer to have experience in both car game production and multiplayer action battle production. This game is being made in Unreal Engine. Imagine those two things. Like, who has expertise in car game production and multiplayer action battle production? You're talking like what? Is there any game that would fall in those two categories?
Grand Theft Auto.
Twisted Metal?
Twisted Metal, yeah, I
Twisted
suppose.
Metal, yeah.
Sega also posted a recruitment video in Japanese featuring producer Kenji Kano, the director of the original game, and other developers. In the video, according to VGC, the developers talk about adapting the classic Crazy Taxi gameplay for a world with multiple players set on a theme park-like city map. Brief work-in-progress clips from the Game Awards announcement video show multiple cabs trailing sparks as they drift around a San Francisco-style city. The news may set off alarm bells about overreach. Can a game series that lasts?
All I can think of is Jeff Goldblum is just like they were so preoccupied if like if they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
For Crazy Taxi.
Yeah. Can a game series that last saw a home console release in 2002 really support a global hit in the 2020s? However much nostalgia there is for it. On the other hand, Crazy Taxi's frantic gameplay and joyously garish style seems well suited to a bustling competitive online world and might even support a battle royale style mode. The idea of a more over-the-top arcade-coded rival to the likes of Forza Horizon, or to put it another way, a Fortnite on wheels, doesn't seem so crazy after all. I really like that article, and I'm pumped. I would definitely try this.
I hope they go fucking balls to the wall, bash it crazy with it, and like at some point you just like you hit a warp rift and you're just like on an F-Zero style track driving around there.
Or like get the celebrity crossover thing and you're like picking up Lara Croft or you're picking up fucking Kratos and shit like that, you know?
I also love that article. Ollie Welsh is a good kid. What was the very first line in it? Sega has decided they want to be Sega again.
Let me just pull it back up here for you. Where are we? Sega's going through one of those phases when it decides it wants to be Sega again.
That's such a banger of a line to open that article with. Also, did they say that they were looking for a lead designer that would favor those two styles?
Let me just see now.
Meaning that the game isn't in development yet, basically.
I think I don't think it is in development. Oh my god, where have I?
No, so it was where the two styles cross over.
Yeah. It is okay. Yes, they in an ad seeking a lead game designer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would prefer the game designer to have experience in both car game production and multiplayer action battle production.
So there's no development go on this yet. So we're probably still about 5 years out.
What's weird is they did show a trailer at the Game Awards, and I remember looking at it being like, that looks crazy. It was like a multiplayer version of Crazy Taxi. I don't know if it was like splashed together.
But at the time, we couldn't figure out if it was an updated version or not, right?
The fact that it had what looked to be other cars racing in it or driving in it made me realize that it wasn't just a replaster, because that didn't exist in the original Crazy Taxi.
They should just drop the idea of Crazy Taxis and just make wacky races.
But I love Crazy Taxi and the music. I want it to be Crazy Taxi still, But yeah, Wacky Races would be good.
Like
in terms of
Wacky Races would be awesome. Actually,
was it Rat Race, that movie? We had to get from A to B no matter what.
Oh,
I can't think of which.
I never saw it.
That was
I know
a good
the
film.
movie. I never saw it.
Something like that could be fun. But yeah, a Crazy Taxi game, online battle royale style. I'm like, you know what?
I don't understand. Like, jog my memory here. Crazy Taxi, you're literally a taxi driver. Right?
Yeah.
How does that have battle royale?
So you
anywhere
in the arcade
just
version
race
of it,
to get the guy first?
Well, or you have it's like a timer thing. So if you're picking up fares and drop them off, your timer extends. So I guess it might be a last taxi driver standing, depending on how well you're delivering your fares in the battle royale system, with all the other cars
probably
drop
obstacles like the Tetris effect or Tetris 99.
Yeah,
the big one?
yeah.
You could probably like drop obstacles in other courses if you do.
Or like arrive and pick up some person who that your opponent really needed because they're just a bit run out of time, and you pick them up and they get knocked out. I
think we're making the game for them here.
Yeah. Listen, Luke, we're on fire today. The Super Switch.
I don't think battle royale is a good idea. Maybe like a high score, cool. But like battle royale, nah.
It kind of smacks
just, like everyone's just trying to throw in battle royale.
Do you ever watch Mythic Quest? It's the Rob McElhenney show.
Yeah,
the game dev studio.
I wanted to watch a couple episodes, and it wasn't that I didn't like it, but I never continued on. But I enjoyed what I saw.
You kind of have to. It's good. There's a whole arc in the show where their publisher wants them to make their game a battle royale, and they're like, "What does that mean for our game? What would our game but a battle royale even look like?" And the head of the studio is like, "Can you just please try and make it work?" And he's like, "Why?"
Yeah, there are certain games that just shouldn't have a battle royale system. Yeah. I don't think the Tetris one was really cool. Like that Tetris 99.
And he has a world championship, but then again, that's just like a single elimination tournament, I suppose, more than a battle royale.
And I think it definitely works for some kinds of, I think, real competitive games for a battle royale, like stuff like the Call of Duties or the Fortnites, which are competitive in nature, first-person shooters, whatever.
I think battle royale is the worst for pure competitive, because there's just so much randomness that happens. Like, you could be the best player in the world, but somebody just shoots you in the back of the head. No, I think still 1v, or not 1v1, like a 5v5 team game, best of, is way better for competition.
But I suppose they exist in the likes of Overwatch and stuff like that anyway, right? Like we do have those games that exist out there, like the team hero matchups.
Those are hero fighters, but
I get your point that like there's more variables, so it's less likely that skill will be the deciding factor and whether someone wins. But I could see the argument that like a game like Crazy Taxi, whose vibe is crazy, could like really thrive off that like manicness where obstacles are popping up everywhere, and it's like really
I didn't have time to look into it, but
I want battle royale Twisted Metal now that I think about it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like that'd be amazing.
That would be dope.
Come up with like a couple more cars and special moves that they could have in Twisted Metal and pit you all against each other.
Sweet Tooth just fucking mowing down everyone.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And I'm interested to see. I didn't get a chance to kind of get the vibe, like do a vibe check on what Crazy Taxi fans thought of this as an announcement type thing. But as a guy who loved Crazy Taxi back in the day, I'm like, it still exists. I think I can still play it somehow, the old Crazy Taxi, which is great.
I don't think there's any there's fans of Crazy Taxi. I don't think there's Crazy Taxi fans that have just memorabilia and like posters up somewhere.
I
still playing the old one, waiting for the next one to come out.
I guarantee you there are fucking hardcore Crazy Taxi fans. Like
it's the only game they play.
Yeah. That's it for news, guys.
Yeah, it was great.
Myself, Luke, and Chris will be talking about Crash Bandicoot 5, the Metal Gear Solid movie, and a Legacy of Kain remake, but not on this episode, on our post show, which you can find at patreon.com/thegiftofgaming. And for the cost of a coffee a month, you can check out all the extra news we give month by month and all the other bonus episodes that we throw up every single week. There's loads there. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. Chris, Luke, thank you so much for joining me for the news.
Thanks,
No
Aaron.
problem.
A pleasure as always. And to our listeners, as always, and forever, keep enjoying that gift that is gaming. Peace out.
Peace.